So welcome everybody. This is, well, I guess it's another episode of DZR Engage, but this is Men Gone Rogue. This is a show where we have literally a plethora of content creators and streamers from the Division community, ones that you probably know, probably ones that you are friends with, you're mods with, you watch on a daily basis more than you touch your own wives. This is literally the show where we're going to... This is the show...
Just kidding, I'm not married yet.
He's like, I thought of something clever and now I can't even get it out.
That's okay, I always have a hard time getting it out.
Not getting it in though, that's for sure.
So look, we are going to talk to probably one of the hottest topics that has sort of come from the Division, which is PvP and its place within the game. There's definitely a division, no pun intended, within the Division community around PvE players and PvP players, even more so of a hot topic when it comes to the Dark Zone. So hopefully what we can do today is really talk about mechanics of going rogue, what going rogue means to PvE and PvP players, how to PvP for starters, because let's face it, a lot of us are pretty shit at it, and there's a few of us that are pretty good at it, and we're just sort of going to go through that. But joining me today are some pretty cool people, so I'm going to sort of go round the table itself. Someone you do know from one of our last special episodes is Don't Go Rogue. How are you, mate?
I'm doing good. Obviously I'm Don't Go Rogue. I'm from the US. I play Xbox and PC, no PS4 yet, and you can find me on YouTube streaming and on just YouTube videos as well.
Brilliant. Thanks for the excitement. And we have also got Taylor. Or Taylor, how are you, buddy?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Cheers. Wonderful. Brilliant.
He goes through and does like the nicest intro ever, and then Taylor's like, yeah, cool.
Keep it real, George. Keep it real.
Taylor here. Hi. Nando's.
And then we have the PvP streamer that has sort of grown. You must be over 1,000 subs now. I think you definitely are. Which is Matt Go Buck from the Clancy Elites. How are you?
I'm excellent, how are you? Yeah, Matt Goes Buck with the Clancy Elites with Ryler or Taylor here. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, and we just started a Discord.
Oh, there we go. Fantastic. And I'm actually on that Discord. There's a great Discord.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of good people in there. Some good conversations happening too. Even Mr. Ultimate Cosplayer himself. Can I never actually say his name though? What is it? I know his name is Alpha.
Fox.
Alien Fox.
I thought it was Babe, but that's what he told me to call him, so I've just been rolling with that.
I just call him Foxy. I mean,
He told me to call him yours.
Oh,
Foxy
sounds like a
Cleopatra.
magnitude of relationships.
Foxy Cleopatra.
And then we have a brother from another mother, a guy that I do a lot of playtime with. I know his wife very intimately. P3T3TT. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm good, thank you. How are you? I love how you know my wife so intimately, yeah, and I know I don't steal, because I spend more time actually playing the game than I do, you know, touching base with other people's wives. But, you know, dude, you keep me off my back so you're happy.
Oh, that's good.
You're streaming, and he's like, what's that noise in the background? And she's like, nothing, honey.
And that voice, let's face it, I've never heard that voice before. It's, don't forget your pulse, idiot. How are you?
It's use your pulse, idiot. Can you get it right at least when you introduce me?
Oh,
like,
there we go.
Don't forget your pulse,
Burn.
idiot. I feel bad now. Makes me want to hang up and just go home.
God, call
You
out
are
your
home.
own podcast.
Yeah. Mic drop. That's
How are you? Good? Apart from the Canadian hockey t-shirt.
hockey t-shirt. It has sleeves. It's a jersey.
Hey, can I go put on my hockey t-shirt?
You're not allowed.
Can
Why?
I take off my t-shirt?
Please?
Please.
Good. And then we have the man from the last show. He's the gaming Scotsman. How are you?
I'm fine, man. Thanks for asking. How are you, my dude?
I'm good. Yeah, very good actually. Second drink of vodka in.
Only
hopefully
two?
Loosen the ton up a little bit. Well, it is a pint though.
Fair
So-
play.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll get things going. So as you said, these guys, you know, they're well known around the Division community, and hopefully today we'll just start talking literally about some PvEVP, and sort of what that means to the wider community, what that means to them as individuals, how that's helped them become who they are, and also really sort of what we think is going to happen when 1.6 and Last Stand drops. We know these guys, some of these guys have played PTS. I personally have only dabbled for maybe an hour, but there's definitely obviously some decent PvP meta builds. I'm sure they've got some meta builds coming out that's going to really sort of change the game.
What the fuck are you
What
doing?
is
Why is
there a rave
everyone
going
laughing?
on in
Yeah, I was gonna say,
It
it's like as soon
literally
as you
looks
mention the
like-
build, Rogue's room just lights up like, hey, that's me. That's me.
It just looks like a strip club, man. That's all I can
So,
see right now.
this
is a
makes
strip club.
terrible radio, but great for Google Hangouts. I love this. All right, so look, everybody knows who they are. Let's just do a quick fire question for each one of you, since it's already put in the show notes. So, don't go rogue. What's your favourite sex position, mate?
Doggy style for sure.
Brilliant. Taylor?
Fuck.
Sweet.
Wait.
Matt?
Oh, you're asking me? I was gonna say the one that involves Taylor.
Yeah, that's what I was confused at. Like,
That's
are
what
we
I
doing
was
it
gonna
with
go with.
people here, or
No, your own. Whatever sex position you
probably
you
just
like.
straight up missionary? That's what I'd probably
Straight
go
up,
for.
straight
What
up
a
missionary.
wanker.
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
Reverse cowgirl.
Reverse
I
cowgirl.
mean, come on.
Remember when you did it that time with me? That was sick.
Yeah, it was great. That was beautiful.
I remember sitting in the corner waiting for my turn.
Oh,
He was having one of those classic cranks.
PTT.
I'm gonna have to agree with Matt as well. Nothing sexy and law on top, baby.
Fantastic. Pulse.
I think he wants me on him.
I was gonna say something, but then I was thinking about that time that Scotsman was just mentioning, that like I was sitting on that branch outside. He was sitting in the corner, and I could just see him and Taylor, and I was just
So
Great
you
time.
were the guy in the tree.
Scotsman, what's yours?
Anything that
The
means I can
division
lie
case.
down and do nothing in the process.
Oh, so,
yeah.
ah.
But all kidding
Nice.
aside, if I can just have a nap and just be like, all right, let me know when you're done.
Anything that involves
That's-
eating burritos too. If he can
Ooh,
eat a
eating
burrito
burrito.
and not have
Dude,
to
we
put
just
too much
sat
effort
down
into
for this,
it,
and it's
he's
gonna
into
be
it.
an hour long, and I can't get a burrito right now. Time to shut up.
You mean you didn't come prepared? Wow.
I grabbed a beer. I mean,
I have like 8 bottles of water and a melted piece of ice cream cake from last night. That's about it.
I had a cup
it's
of tea, but
disgusting.
it's empty.
Throw it away.
All right. Cool. So now we know everybody's favourite feeding positions. Right. So let's just jump straight. We know what the context of the show is. It's PvP. What does going rogue mean? For me, it means, if I take it from a lure perspective, I am a first wave agent or a second wave agent that believes in the first wave agents or Keena's lore, right? And I am going to go and stop light agents or normal agents, wave 2, wave 3, what, you know, grandfathered wave you are, in stopping you from achieving a mission. From a player standpoint, for me, going rogue is, well, the only aspect of the game for me to go rogue is a PvP environment. Do I take that PvP? What type of PvP, like actual context, do I like? I like straight up PvP. I'm not a huge ganker. I'm not great at PvP. I like to use my skills. I like to do team based play, and so forth. But what does going rogue mean to you? Don't go rogue. Ooh, I like that. What does rogue mean to you? Don't go rogue.
Going rogue for me is, I mean, I only go in the dark zone in PvP, so that's going rogue for me is the enjoyment of the game. It's more or less, I don't like walking up behind people either, or just shooting them in the head, but other than that, I mean, I feel like it brings a sense of enjoyment when you actually do kill someone. It makes you feel kind of, you know, good, I guess. As long as it's an even fight. Obviously, if you're just cheesing the game, it's not very much fun. But it's all within how you do it.
Okay, interesting. Can you cheese PvP? Is it cheesable?
Hill it in air.
It is at the moment.
I absolutely think it's totally cheesable, but that's just
For
me.
sure. Yeah.
With every patch, it's cheesable. 1.2, you got Tactician. 1.3, you got Sensitive Shotgun. You got Alpha FAMAS right now. I mean, those builds don't take skill to kill somebody. That's just an easy kill. Guaranteed, you're gonna kill somebody.
Wait,
So
people still play this game?
Yeah, right.
So that's a really interesting point. But what does going rogue actually mean to you, though, Matt?
To me, it's the end game. I've always been a multiplayer shooter player, PvP. To me, I beat level 1 through 30, and then you go straight to PvP only. It's the end game. Rogue to me is full on Irene, shoot everybody for no reason. If they go rogue, you still kill them. 19-second manhunt, I don't care, you're dead.
Brutal. You don't have children, I guess. There's no love
No.
in you.
No, I don't have to.
Matt, you're forgetting something, you little shitbag.
What?
Yeah, Matt, I have to talk to you about that later.
Taylor, what does going rogue? I know you're a PvE player. What does going rogue to you mean?
Fuck everything about it. It's a broken system. Can we move on?
Oh.
Good, you're
Let's
still
save
to the
it-
point
nah,
today.
Let's save
aren't
that
you?
for the
I'm
third. Let's
just
save
joking.
that for the third
I'm just
segment.
joking.
Sounds like someone needs to get good.
It sounds like fuck our partnership.
Damn.
Oh.
Nah.
All right.
So on a serious
All right,
level,
guys. I need a YouTuber. It shouldn't be that hard to find one. So, anybody want to get in line?
See, to be fair, Taylor, I thought you were taking shots at me the one time on PC when you chucked that nade right as I kicked you and you went rogue and I ganked you.
All right, Pete.
I didn't
What
even
is
get
going
a fucking
rogue?
chance.
Oh, go on then. Go on. You answer your question. Go on.
No, it's
Taylor.
fine.
Go on.
No, I'm fine. I'm cool.
Okay.
I've actually got to be honest, man.
Pete.
I'm halfway between Matt and Taylor. I agree with Matt's, let's shoot everything. But Taylor's got some points about it being a broken system. Like, you know what I mean? The fact that other players can run in front of you if you're hunting rogues, and other players can intentionally run in front of you, make you go rogue, and then they can turn on you in that 19-second timer and kill you. That is broken, whatever way you look at it. But I do.
Let's leave
Matt's
the-
side of
leave the,
just gank everything.
Let's leave what's broken. But what does going rogue mean to you?
Not a lot. it doesn't mean a lot to me.
Okay. Pulse.
See, and this is like the going rogue thing to me, like kind of what Matt said was the end game. Because I mean, what do you do after you reach level 30 other than shoot people and test out what build works and what build doesn't, and what's super broken and what's kind of funny? And like I was talking to Matt, and like we went manhunt when I was using Hunter's Faith the other day, and everyone's this big huge discussion about Hunter's Faith, and it's all like, it's so broken, and I'm like, I killed like 20 people with it in a row without dying. How do you manage to do that without it being, somewhat viable? Killing people in the game is kind of like that that thing, but then like the Canadian in me gets kind of upset when I gank
You
someone,
just want
and
to
I'm
give
like,
them
that
food
guy,
packages.
that no, it's not. But it's not even that. It's like that guy worked hard to get that gear, and he's like a solo dude, and I just showed up to his extraction and just shot him in the face for no apparent reason at all.
Does it
And
make
then-
you want to say sorry to him? Do
Yeah.
you kill him
Yeah.
and go, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
And then
People-
you
no, but
dismantle his hungry
Should have
hog.
used your pulse,
People-
idiot.
People have messaged me on Xbox, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm Canadian. I feel bad.
Scotsman, what does going rogue mean to you?
Either you have stuff on your back that either once belonged to me or I want it, or you clapped, so you're gonna die.
Oh yeah, the clap. The clap.
See, but
What's it
then-
going to be like when the teabagging emote
Yeah, what are you
comes
gonna
in?
do when someone backflips on you?
See, I'm probably just gonna laugh at that because then I'm just thinking you've just paid money to try and insult me.
That's true.
But
That is
I mean,
also-
Yeah,
very
but
true.
odds are you're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
get salty about it and want to go back out and kill him, though. So
oh yeah.
he
it's like
paid
good
money
luck.
to insult the shit out of you, and you hate it.
Yeah, like you can just completely drop them, and then when you elbow them, they'll flip anyway. So it's like, see, you didn't have to pay for that one. But I'm moving towards a very Irene mindset of the Dark Zone. Just.
Can
kill
I
it
just
if it
take a
moves.
second to say that I'm so glad that Irene thing took off?
Oh
'Cause,
yeah.
like it started it like the first time I ever really heard it was when I used it in Matt Shotch's like personal stream the one night. He's like, we need like a code word, and everyone was throwing out these things, and I was like, Irene, and everyone was like Irene, and
Yeah,
that was like fucking.
I'm pretty sure I
Black
said
Hawk Down.
blueberry that night. That was the night I said I always say blueberry.
Yeah. And then I said Irene, and he was like Irene, and I was like Black Hawk Down, and he was like fucking Irene, and then it just was like gone.
And then Gamebox died.
Brilliant. So thinking, just moving on, just herding kittens again. Moving on, roguing or going rogue was always meant to have some level of risk and some level of reward. It was always meant to be a hard choice. Do we think that the level of risk within the rogue mechanic and the level of reward that you get from going rogue works? Do you think it's what it is as intended, and do you think there's a value in the reward to go rogue? I'll open it up to all six of you. What do you think?
I'll start. I'm in. Yeah, so I think that for one, I think in the next 3 updates, you're going to see a huge DZ rework of how rogue works. I don't think that there's obviously a lot of risk, but there's also there's not much reward. But I guess you are making the choice to go rogue. But in my opinion, for somebody that always wants to PvP, the reward kind of sucks compared to me losing 6 keys and 20,000 experience over, just killing 5 people. But I just feel like the risk is too high for the reward, but I still do it anyway, so I can't really justify my point. I guess.
Yeah, I fully agree with don't go rogue. As someone who's more inclined to go rogue on someone than actually just go find rogues, the risk you take, and then when you die once, you lose 15. Are you choking? Are you okay?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on right now.
Are you choking? Are you choking?
When you get five kills, you kill innocent people, and then you die once, and you lose 10 keys and 20k XP over and over again. It's kind of shitty. As someone who always goes rogue, I never have keys because I die 3 times in a night, and I just lost 30 keys right there.
But you survive a manhunt, and you get like 8,000 XP, but you die on manhunt, and you lose 20,000. And you can.
It makes no sense.
If you get 10 kills on manhunt, if you get 20 kills on manhunt, if you kill 5 people and then die, you're still gonna lose multitudes of experience comparatively to like when you survive a manhunt. And that's what I think needs to be worked on. Is that if I can survive as a manhunt in the server for fucking 20 minutes. I shouldn't be rewarded with the same as someone who goes, gets a 5 kill and then dies.
While you're on that point, Pulse, I got a question for you then. Sorry, Matt.
No, you're good.
You say about surviving it. Well, what about the people? Like, I understand if you're fighting against agents, you run a little bit, you fight a bit, you run a bit, you fight a bit. Maybe the server gets bored with you and don't want to fight you anymore, and you run your time off. But what about the guys that will go rogue down in DZ1? They'll kill 1 person, 2 people, 3 people by themselves, and then just run up to DZ6 and run their timers off. You get to a point where you obviously want to stop in the street to try and shoot them to slow their timers down, but then you kind of never catch them back up again because they open the ground. They're getting that reward for not really doing that. So does that need to be reworked as well? Like, I understand your point. There's not a lot of reward for going rogue.
I think everything as a whole needs to be reworked because, like what Matt Shaw just said, he had a good idea. We were talking one night and said if you don't engage someone with your weapon, not with a skill, not like resetting your timer with a seeker mine or with a shock turret or anything like that. If you run and you don't engage someone with a skill, if you don't engage someone with your weapon, you'll lose a tab of your rogue as a penalty. So you're losing it to the point where you could ultimately get nothing back from it, kind of deal.
I personally feel like they've already taken steps to hurting people going rogue by teleporting checkpoint to checkpoint without going out. You see people running. And plus, they already diluted the server so heavily now. Obviously, for the first 3 weeks, there's going to be people all in 7, 8, 9. And then it's going to go back down to where everybody's everywhere. So to actually get those 5 kills is not going to be as easy as you guys think it is right now. And when you do go rogue, I feel like everybody in the DZ is going to see where it's at, and they'll just be able to teleport checkpoint to checkpoint. So if you kill somebody and they spawn at a checkpoint, but you're running near another one, they can just teleport to that one and cut you off. I think that stuff just needs reworked. Honestly,
See,
it's a long
and
discussion.
You can say that it's gonna be harder to get 5 kills, but if you see if you're in DZ9 and you see the extraction going off at the sports store, you're still gonna stand inside a checkpoint, fast travel down to that checkpoint, and run to it. Because if there's a group of 4 people there, if there's a full 4-man team there, that's 4 people out of your rogue. If they want to come right back out that checkpoint and get their stuff back or try and fight you, you know that it's going to be a 5-man within a minute.
Yeah, but if we're talking about PvP to a casual player, like we're talking about hunting players, which is fun and I do it, but like not many people look for fights like that. And I think that
you're both raising a really good point. But when you're thinking about the reward of going rogue, and even the rogue timer itself, right? I think the rogue timer is actually a waste of time. I don't think it adds any value to the game at all. Because going rogue is a choice, right? You are choosing to be a rogue player. For me, going rogue should be a choice when you enter the dark zone. You either choose to be a normal agent or you choose to be a rogue player, and you are constantly that through the entire time that you're in the dark zone. And your experience, so whenever you kill a non-rogue, and you're rogue and you don't kill a rogue agent, or you kill a normal agent, you should be rewarded from that, whether it's direct XP, whether it's direct money, funds, loot, or some type of cash. If you then kill a multitude, you're up at 10, 20, 30, that type of thought, right? You start to get caches, right? Same as like when you're playing COD. Tank. Kill streaks, that type of thing, right? As you're a rogue agent, right? It's meant to be a hard choice, and if you get killed, right, your risk there is everything that you've got is lost, right?
Your whole gear set.
But
that's just a view from
I'm sorry, I wasn't
me,
shaking my head at you, by the way. I was
on that note, though, it's I've seen Upper Echelon get full 24-man servers together. What stops you?
And I've been a part of it.
What stops you from getting 24 people together and just saying, all right, let's just have a super group and boost?
I have no friends.
And there's another point you're hitting on there. Super groups that just plays. I'm sure Taylor, you play PvE, okay? And touching on the risk reward system, like it not being enough, it needs to encourage people into it. From another side of you, if you want to encourage people into the dark zone to PvP and go rogue and things like that, you need a good risk and reward system. Whereas as a PvE player wanting to go in, there's even less of like an encouragement from the reward system because you don't get anything, do you? Like we know as PvE players, if we go and do Lexington or another mission or survival, whatever, at the end of it, we're going to get some loot. Look at survival. We can play PvE and we know we're going to get loot at the end of it. We're not going to get ganked by players. Whereas from a PvP side of it, well, yeah, but something, right? The bottom line is we know when we go into the dark zone as PvP, if you go rogue, you're not going to get a guaranteed form of reward. Because I say if a super group rolls up on your ass and you're by yourself, you're 1 man or 2 man or 2 man, and you're PvPing and you get jumped by a super group, then you're not going to do anything. So you're trying to get the rewards, but you're not because you're getting jumped by people, and there's no direct reason to want to make people play that and go down that road.
The only thing you get
progression
in the DZ from going rogue is most likely you're going to lose 30 keys and you're probably going to drop down like 5 DZ ranks. The DZ ranking system is terrible. It actually shows you're a better farmer in the DZ than a PvP player. If you're a level 99 in the dark zone,
I'm 99
you're a
on 2 characters because I do PvE, not because I do PvP. When I go PvP, like you say, we drop 5 or 6 ranks. We go in with 100 keys. We come out with none. That's not a system that says, "Bravo, well done, you've PvP'd. You've been skilled enough." Let's say you've been skilled enough, and how many times have we done this binary where we've gone in and we've killed 10 or 11 people, and then you end up getting everyone kind of band together and a group jumps you because another team of people have come into the server and they wipe you out.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We were 20 seconds from surviving our manhunt in our current server. We were skilled enough to do it, and now we've just been ganked and lost it all, and now we've got no reward. Instead, we've lost. Why were we not rewarded for the 11 kills we got prior to that?
Because that's
like
the thrill.
2.5, maybe 3 weeks ago, I did a 7-hour stream of all pure PvP, where if we came across another player, we'd shoot them. If we came across rogues, we'd shoot them. And I probably dropped 10 DZ ranks in 7 hours and had 0 keys at the end of that. And it's not like we did bad PvP. We were extremely successful. It's just that if I kill 50 people and die 4 times, everything is lost, and it makes no sense. Because in any other game, if you go 50 and 4, I mean, you're a legend, pretty much, basically.
Yeah.
But that's it. You look at other games at PvP, and you do get rewards for coming top of the team or second or third. And I know it's not a traditional shooting PvP game as it stands with the rogue system, but you do get rewards for getting kills, more kills than someone else. You know, be it Destiny, Call of Duty, whatever it is you're playing. There's some form of reward there for doing well. And like you say, when you were going rogue and we were watching that stream and you were blitzing through people, if you were to actually get a guaranteed reward for every kill, and then, you know, the risk part of it, when you die, you lose a percentage of that, but you still keep something. So overall, you still gain something for going rogue.
They should create, like, they have those little proficiency cash meters now. They should make a rogue meter where every kill you get while you're rogue, it goes up. And it cannot go back down if you die, and you get a proficiency cache when it fills up.
No. See, you could work with that, but I think it should go down if you die to see.
It shouldn't go down more than it would go up, though.
No. But it would just be like that progress bar where it's like you get kills and then you die. Because then that's something to work towards, but at the same time, it's like you're not losing as much as you would before, but you've also got something to work for.
Yeah. Because you kill an agent, I don't know how much XP off the top of my head you get if you kill an agent, but if you kill 5, you definitely don't get 20 XP like you lose when you die.
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
They also don't promote PvP, so I don't know if that would actually be implemented. I wish it was, but throughout every patch in this game, they've really never said, like, this will make PvP more, intense.
See, and that's why, I mean, anyone who PvEs in this game, I mean, I have PvE, we did incursions earlier, okay? Don't get me wrong.
Sorry, Mom.
I don't like the people who say that PvE has gotten nothing when, everyone's like,
They've gotten everything.
It's so hard to get gear, and, like, off the top of my head, they have the open world bosses, they have all, 4 incursions now that are coming up?
Yeah, but if we put it into context, though, right? If we put it into context, the roguing system was originally, and correct me if I'm wrong, was put in place because the Dark Zone was the best place to get loot, right? It was meant to be the best place where you could get loot. And I'm going back to vanilla, right? So I'm going back to 1.0, 1.2 even. It was meant to be the best place to get loot. And the idea of the roguing system was to add a challenging level, not at a competitive PvP environment, but for you to be able to take that loot from another agent who had farmed it, right? It was meant to add that surprise. And since then, right, since that original thought process or that original mechanic, it's not. We could probably say the Division itself, from a PvP standpoint, has not progressed on further from that as fast as what the Division community has.
It's gone downwards.
The only time I would say that the Dark Zone was the best place to get loot is when they dropped the patch where every boss dropped gold items. And that's because not gold, like, if you guys remember, if you guys played the beginning of the game, gold items were like God rolled Alpha Bridge right now, you know what I mean, on the ground or something like that. And but I would say in 1.1 when Falcon Lost was dropped, that was the best area for gear. Yeah, not everyone could do it. It was super fucking hard, and we talked about that last podcast, but that was the best place to get gear. The only patch I would say that it was best is when bosses dropped golds, and then it changed over because in 1.2 we got Clear Sky, and or didn't we? Didn't we get Clear Sky?
1.3 wasn't it?
1.3 was Clear Sky.
Okay,
1.3 was Dragon's Nest. 1.2 was
Clear Sky.
Yeah. So you guys had all the missions. Obviously, named items weren't out. And then you had Falcon's Lost and Clear Sky for items. And then in 1.3, Underground came out, completely ruined PvP. I feel like the Dark Zone hasn't been the best place to get loot in a long time.
See, and that's what I was touching on and saying, that, like, people who say that the Dark Zone is still the best place to get loot, yeah, there are some Dark Zone exclusives with, like, the Hungry Hog and the Midas and the Ninja Bike bag and all that stuff, And yeah, is it, you know, a little bit easier for people to get loot in there, but you have all of the incursions, every single mission on any difficulty you choose, now including the legendaries, which guarantee an exotic. You have the underground, you have PvE survival, you have the however many open world bosses there are, and what has the rogue mechanic gotten since the game came out? Extraction hijacking.
Rope, yeah. Which I heard an interesting point someone said in my stream, where a lot of PvEers I know, they bitch about the whole rope cutting thing, because I mean it makes sense to be able to cut a rope. But somebody said, if we can cut ropes as rogues, how come we can extract as rogues? Why would division agents and JTF extract our loot for us when they're supposed to help regular agents, not aid rogue agents? So someone said, to counter that, if you're rogue, you can't extract, which is kind of a good point.
No, you can't leave the dark zone as rogue.
But on that note, though, you've got to think that there'd be enough quote unquote rogue agents that we could hire our own helicopter pilots, Matt.
Well, that's not in the, you know, that's
hypothesis.
You shut
up.
But
the point is, I can't remember, someone just said it, I think it was you, Brian, like you said, as you rogue, you can't leave out of checkpoints, you can't go into safe rooms to restock or anything like that. Why would you be able to call an extraction to get your loot out?
See, I don't like that, because there are sometimes when you kill, and I'm sure Matt runs into this, when you kill somebody and you're like, I need to get this out now. And that's part of the lore of killing people and why you want their items. You know what I mean?
Well, when I PvP, I very rarely pick up a player's gear that unless they have some sort of crazy god rolled item, I'm gonna leave it on the ground. Except for those assholes. Except for those assholes who had a hungry hog and I dismantled it, but they went rogue on us. So.
Like, to me, I just pick it up, just to deny them the fact that they're gonna get it. You know?
And sometimes.
As we're talking, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. As we're talking about loot, let's just push the conversation a little bit, because I want to leave a big chunk at the end for where we can sort of have at it. But PvP and loot and gear metas, right? Have always been, I think, from patch to patch, always been like a topic of conversation, especially from a YouTube Taylor and obviously Gaming Scotsman, Pete from a YouTubing standpoint. You know, meta builds from a clickbaiting, or you know, even just as a player from a non-skilled PvP player, have been a big issue.
They break the game.
Do you use PvP meta builds?
No. I grew off meta builds, so I'll answer this question, and I think it's like it'll define my channel kind of. So I started the game with just making what was the best for players that didn't know at the time, and when I started YouTube, I never thought I'd be here. But lately in 1.5, I found myself uploading Alpha Bridge, Banshee, and I never really got into the other gear sets. And the main reason why is because
it gets your views and money, right?
No, I don't do YouTube for money. But my thing is, there's a skill gap, and if I upload, say I upload Hunter's Faith, right, like Pulse, and yeah, I go and get 20 kills. Yeah, I might be able to get 20 kills when I use it, but when people use it, they're gonna look at it and be like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not as good as that, and like honestly, like when
actually Marco approved. Did you see him running all purple and just destroying people?
But
I mean that's Marco, so I mean he's got skill.
There comes another point from the YouTube side of it, from both Rogue and you, Matt, is you want to upload a meta build, okay? And I think the other side of what you're trying to say, although there's a skill gap, Rogue, is you see the likes of Marco. He'll put a build up showing a purple build being competitive. Marco's a known YouTuber. People listen to him. Ideal. Right. There's this YouTuber. He's putting up he's a big guy. He's putting up a purple build. It's usable. You can see the skill gap. We all know he's good.
Yeah. Talk to him all the time.
If someone was to put a video up that wasn't a big YouTuber, that had 10 subscribers and had the same skill level as Marco, and was to put a purple build together, and they would get absolutely shit on and told that they're talking out their arse and everything else, because people just don't want to believe that there's another way of doing it, and skill does matter. They want to bang their Alpha Bridge build on. You know this, Rogue, if you do YouTube, you will know, if you try and put a video up, the same with Taylor, you try and put a video up that is not a meta build and it doesn't come from a big YouTuber, it gets shit on.
Well, it depends,
people
right?
Don't want to believe on it.
It depends because, you know, that's one thing I don't like about the Division community. And unfortunately, I have the chance to chat with Marco about his builds and things like that. And he literally, he told me his build for 1.6, and he said, I'm going to upload it and no one's going to use it, right? It'll get tons of views, but no one's going to use it because it's a healer. And he's like, everyone wants to see the meta builds. And yeah, well, I understand his point, but the thing about the Division is you have 4 big YouTubers that are humongous and that draw all of the attention to whatever they upload. But for us, like for me, Scotty, Pulse makes videos and streams, Pete, you make videos, Taylor makes videos. If we aren't uploading what's the best, then we aren't getting anybody to watch. Because, yeah, I could upload me running around in purples or running around in greens and PvPing. And, yeah, I'm not going to get as many views as what people want to see what the best is, and they want to put it on in PvP like us and PvP and compete with the best of them.
But that's all people pay attention to. It doesn't matter what build you're using. If it kills people, and you can upload a video right now with the clickbaitist title and be like 40 kill manhunt, and everyone's gonna click on it, watch the first 30 seconds to find out what you're using, and say fuck it. They say,
yeah,
okay,
that's
you know what?
That's not an Alpha Bridge build. I'm not playing it. Yeah, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about because it's not an Alpha Bridge build.
I'm not a YouTuber, so I don't really know. The lovely Taylor handles all that for us, but I guess I don't know what I'm trying to say. But no, as a meta build, everyone wants to see that. But Alpha Bridge, FAMAS, it's the same thing over and over again. So why would you want to keep cranking videos out like that if everyone's making it? Wouldn't you want to do something?
So what about? So let's open the floor up. So what about Scotsman, right, and Taylor? What you guys are definitely like Scotsman. You're a PvEVP player. And Taylor, you're definitely a PvE player, but you do both definitely touch on builds. So what does meta builds offer you?
I don't know, like, obviously when you first find out about Alpha Bridge, I thought Ideal is going to make my life in the Dark Zone a lot easier. But I got boring so quickly that I just went back to sort of like finding my own sort of routes and finding out what I thought was fun in the game. So as soon as this PTS came out, like, that's the first time I even touched builds on my channel. And making these cool, like, weird builds and, like, trying to get as much damage out of an MDR is the sort of thing I focus on. So when somebody comes up to me and goes, oh, what do you think is the best build to run in the Dark Zone? I'm like, yeah, I can't even be asked to explain that because you're just going to run into the same person with the same build, so.
Scotsman?
Everyone with the Alpha Bridge and sidearm procking talents and shit.
I'll admit, I do the sidearm proc. I don't do it with a sawed-off, I do it with a pistol, but I refuse to run Alpha Bridge. It is boring. It is played.
That's just
I run
a cheese
Predmark.
still, though. It's just a cheese
it's to be fair, about 70% of the time I forget to do it. Okay, so
100% of the time I don't use it, and I still kill people. So it doesn't really
all right, fine. I'll stop just for you. I'll stop using it.
I don't even know how to do it. I don't even know how to do it.
So what the thing that people are doing is they bought a 182 blueprint for a sidearm. Mine, I think I'm using the like P4 or whatever. Most people have the sawed-off shotgun because you could have 3 talents. You want it rolled with competent and adept and predatory. You don't need to spec into electronics on a 182 to have those talents unlocked. So you can still be tanky, you can still do DPS. And then what you do is you pull out your sidearm, you have it in your hand, and you pop a skill. Seeker Minds, Pulse, and then Competent and Adept will proc, and then when you switch to your main weapon, it will be applied to that main weapon. So you're running... I run Predator Mark with Destructive. Yeah, well, see, I run Pred Mark, so I run Destructive, Unforgiving, Responsive, and then Competent and Depth. So I'm essentially almost running an Alpha Bridge, but making people bleed.
I want to touch on this real quick. So I kind of think that people hating on YouTubers for putting out the meta. I mean, you see it with every game. You see it even in FPS shooters, right? What's the best weapon to use? What's the most accurate? What's this? How can I get an advantage here or there? And you're more or less just shooting the messenger for them finding out first. Now, if everybody is using Alpha Bridge and you keep uploading Alpha Bridge, obviously you're just AIDS. You can take that out. I don't really care, but You know,
See, but I think that's what he meant. Is it's you can use one video and say, okay, this is the meta build, and everyone's gonna be like, okay, cool, that's the meta build. But when you say this is the meta build, and then upload a video the same, or 2 days later and say this is still the meta build, and continuously until you get an update that fixes it. When you point out the meta build 80 times, it gets boring.
There is nothing worse than coming across somebody's channel, seeing a build with like an alpha bridge build, and then like them trying to sort of remake this video so it's slightly different just to keep everyone in the loop that it's still an alpha bridge build. It drives me fucking mad. Like literally stresses me out to see it.
Right now, I run alpha bridge with 2 snipers. You don't really see that happen, and I literally just have been doing it for the past couple of weeks.
Do you run it with nimble 2 wids or?
No, I run it with savage gloves, barrett chest, and I just run it, and literally I'm not one-shotting people. I'm not even close. I'm literally 2-shotting people and just having fun. I'm tanky.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's the best part.
But do you run Provident?
No, I don't have the 163 taunt. Plus.
Sorry, what about you, Scotsman?
For me personally, during 1.5, I've only done 3 alpha videos, but they've all been different in their own way. Like the first one was sort of like I kind of was lucky enough to get the gear that I kind of needed for it within the first few days. But then I uploaded that one, and then I did the second one, but it was more min-maxed and optimized for the Dark Zone in its current state. And then I did my last one, which was like with the addition of a Barrett's chest to show what kind of damage that would bring instead. So like every time there was one that I would change up, there would be different things about it to not have the same build over and over. Like there'd still be different ways to play.
But that's a good variety. And like if you do that and you use like different weapon archetypes, like if you do an Alpha Bridge sub build video and an Alpha Bridge AR build video and then an Alpha Bridge sniper build video, like all of those things are cool. Like I can deal with that. But when you're saying, okay, cool, this is an Alpha Bridge sub with 6 talents, and then you change it up and say, this is an Alpha Bridge build with subs that's 6 talents, but I changed my secondary weapon, it's the same thing.
Oh, no. See, I made 2 videos. Or, well, I have a couple, because I don't know why, but I have 2 general videos that were big videos for me. One that was only at 3,900 firearms and like 8,000 some stamina with Alpha Bridge, and then I have like my general build. There are videos in between there. I have no idea why I uploaded them. Can't remember. Don't ask, but essentially those were the 2 builds that got like 40,000 views, and that was the extent of 1.5 build meta for me.
So if we're talking about build, and we've definitely touched on talents, what are the PvP talents that people are either OP or the ones that if you're not running an Alpha Bridge, right? Which is effectively
Can I start on this one, because I wanted to say this to Matt for a while. I know that some of you guys have watched Upper Echelon videos, and you'll agree with this, that truly depends on your playstyle and what you're running. Like, an Alpha Bridge SMG build, say, may be fucking brilliant, but if you've got a marksman build, then you're not going to be wanting responsive on it, are you? Because you're going to play to your skill. You're going to keep yourself
you're going to want prepared
and
instead of
outplay their
responsive.
SMG. So I don't actually think you can ever say that they're a brilliant, this is the must-have weapon talents for this or that, because it depends on your gear set, your weapons, your playstyle, and the situation that you're
you can ask a face tanker what's the best weapon talents to run,
you
can ask a skill build what's the best weapon talents to run, stuff like that. You can't just ask a general what's the best weapon talent.
I think the only weapon talent at the moment we can say at the moment is a must-have if you're going into PvP, which will change next week, is destructive.
Yep.
Competent, if you can get it.
Competent is nice, yeah.
If you can get
but it's not a must. It's not one of their must talents, is it?
To me, and I would say 90% of quote unquote PvPers, anything, man, to pop a pulse and get a 10% damage boost, or to pop my heal
plus pulse,
and to get a
plus
10%
the pulse
damage boost, especially if I'm using a booster shot. If you use a booster shot with competent, that procs as soon as your heal goes, right? So not only am I getting the booster shot that boosts my damage, I'm getting the competent damage boost, and that that can raise your damage, whether it's 1,000, 2,000, depending on how strong you are.
You can get your LVOAC up to like 30k base damage with booster competent, and still only have 4790 firearms.
I can tell you guys the 4 I'm gonna run in my build video day 1. And yes, I'm going to be using Alpha Bridge, and it's not the meta, so don't roast me.
No, I want to run Alpha Bridge in 1.6.
Right.
Alpha Bridge
So-
is
I
still
think
going to be
it's going to
viable.
be the
You're
most.
just going to lose talents.
You can do the most diversity with Alpha Bridge in 1.6.
Right.
Because you
So
don't
it's gonna
have to
have
spec in the weapon talents. They're
Yeah,
just
it's gonna have 4
freely
talents.
unlocked.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna run responsive, unforgiving, competent, and hurried. And hurried, if you guys don't know what it does, basically, I think for every
That's for every shot you get 1%.
yeah,
Crit,
yeah,
every
your
crit,
reload
yeah,
spike.
you
reload speed.
Your
quicker,
reload
yeah.
speed.
So I'll
That's your
basically
reload speed, right?
Yeah, I'll basically have 7,000 firearms, and then I'll use SMGs and get hurried to quickly reload my gun at close range and keep shooting. So just putting out raw damage with the most amount of.
People
Yeah.
underestimate SMGs, the PP19 especially.
Oh, thank you. That is what I want.
I see when the
I love my
PP19 came out, I
PP19.
loved it. Everyone
When
knocked
The
it because it was
stability,
missing
the
a
accuracy,
weapon mod.
But
the
it means
highest magazine out
nothing.
of all of them.
If I can put an extended mag on a PP19 and have 100 plus shots in
111
it,
rounds.
111
It's like an LMG.
rounds in an SMG, when your standard MP5 with an extended mag on it, or an MP7 with an extended mag on it, shoots 40. Okay, I've almost got a third of. You have a third of what I've got essentially.
Mm-hmm.
PP19 is an amazingly underrated weapon, but going back to the weapon talents, I think there are definitely other ways that you can get your damage for PvP. I for one run a high end build, so obviously I've got my MC gloves, I've got my Barrett's chest, and we always have the likes of Binary, who is like our tactician, so we have a very good pulse to incorporate in that. But there are other ways that you can get your damage out of weapons and your talents as well. For example, one is none. I always spec very highly into headshot damage and accuracy and stability. So my weapons are pinpoint. Hence, I like striker because I can make my damage up out of striker. If I'm using a 2-piece just with my high end build, I take the MC gloves off, get the stability, spec to headshot damage, and with the likes of brutal, you can land those things. When you see other people saying brutal is like a must-have talent, but they don't talk anything about actually, you want to spec into stability and accuracy to make the most of that talent to actually hit them in the head. What's the point in having, going for a brutal talent if you can only hit 3 rounds out of your mag?
I personally don't go for brutal. I think brutal's more of a PC friendly kind of talent because they don't have potato aim. But I won't run brutal on like an assault rifle or anything. I'll run it on an SMG because it's easier to land headshots. But
My hunter's
I try to
do things like
over 100% headshot damage. So
the things like hipfire, hipfire is the damage that you get from hipfire, or even the accuracy between weapons, does that make a huge difference from your PvP playing?
Yes.
hip firing with SMGs. Anytime I've ever used an Alpha Bridge build with subs, my second will always be my Tommy gun, because if I have to hip fire with my SMG and get carefree with the damage boost, it's over.
yeah,
I have mixed feelings about hip firing. I will personally always stay back and shoot at you. I don't want to have an AR fight where I'm basically trying to shove it up your ass. Like, I don't want to run around in a circle and shoot at you hip fire. Yeah, I can do it, and it's definitely a skill, as much as people don't want to say it is, to hit people when you're hip firing. And I feel like you do have an advantage, because if they heal and you hit 6 shots with your hip fire, you essentially took almost half of their heal, if it was a decent heal. If it was weak, then you took all of their heal, and they basically lost it for another 30 seconds, which gives you an advantage. Now, do I like hip fire or how it's implemented? It's debatable. I don't like how people play it, and they just try to get up in your face and then out hip fire you. But that's how the game is.
I
so
don't like the fact that it's a
someone
cover-based
asked
and we
earlier
have
how
hip
you
fire.
cheese PvP. Hipfire is how you cheese PvP.
Yeah,
To me.
Yeah, and I've got to say I don't agree personally with you, Rogue. Not with you, with the comment about hipfire actually taking skill. It doesn't take skill to run in a circle, just holding the trigger. It takes skill when people are running, playing a cover-based game, and like we do when we're playing, we lead teams into ambushes, and you use your smart cover still, keep your stability up, get them in the head. Why they're trying to run around like headless chickens when you can actually get your accuracy on to hit them in the head and drop them while they're doing that. But it doesn't take skill to hold my thumbstick to the left and hold the trigger, running in a circle. That's not a skillful move. It's viable, it works in game, but that's not what the game is. It's a cover-based shooter.
Let me refine my statement. I think that accurate hip fire works, and it is a skill. Now, running around in a circle and holding your stick to the left is just aids. But if you are actually accurately hip firing from distance when you need to, or you turn a corner and you see somebody around the corner and you can hip fire them without aiming to take the second to stand still, that to me is skill. But when you just run around in a circle, I will agree with you that there's no skill there.
Okay.
So
I would continue. Sorry.
No, you go, mate. Go on.
Okay, because what I was gonna say is it's like hip firing can take skill. If I can run around in a circle and land shots on you, and you're hip firing or firing back at me, and you can't hit a single shot. If I can run in a circle and, you know, constantly move to the point with, yes, using a console controller, if I can go through and land all of the shots to the point where I can kill you, and you're shooting in the air trying to figure out what the hell is going on, I feel like that has to take some sort of skill. There has to be some sort of coordination where we're both running around in a circle trying to shoot at each other. I'm landing 90% of my shots, and you can't hit me once.
So am I right in thinking that hip firing is taking some level of nerf when we hit 1.6?
Yeah, it is. I just wanted to comment that I think hipfire takes some kind of skill. I'll admit I'm awful at hipfire. A lot of people in stream will be like, don't you hipfire? And I generally just say no, because I will be that person running around like a chicken cut with its head cut off, hitting nothing but the cars around me. I can't hipfire. I can aim and shoot you in the head and drop you while you try to hipfire me.
I can't hit people, but I'm good at popping tires.
Yes, yeah, I think pop the tires, but yeah, no. I can't
the Michelin Man fears me.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like the new camera is weird. For sure. The new camera will make it. It makes it. It puts you on a low. It looks like you're looking behind the head of your player. It like lowers your camera. So,
but they lowered it and they zoomed it in, and like even after watching
like
videos of people hip firing, I still feel like there are going to be people who are still going to be good at it. There's still going to be people who can run around in a circle, like I said, and land 90% of their shots while you land nothing.
It'll be skill. It'll be skill in 1.6. If you can hip fire accurately in 1.6, I will give you props, because it is not easy.
Yeah.
So thinking about that, right? So going into 1.6, right? It is the first time that in the pretty much almost 12 months, right, that PvP has had a conscious direction of thought process. We've had ETF Bravo, which has had a bunch of content, a bunch of PvP players, and Massive and Red Storm have literally looked at PvP as a mechanic. Going into 1.6, and some of us have or haven't played the PTS, but looking at that mechanic and what the builds and the balancing has been over the PTS, let's just sort of focus on our experiences through the PTS itself. Things like nerf to hip fire, but there obviously has been increases and changes to certain weapon types, such as like SMG and things like that. Going into to 1.6 itself, how did PvP play out?
I loved it.
Okay, I'll answer. So a lot of people will say, okay, so honestly, in my experience in the PTS, I didn't get to play the Dark Zone a lot, because a lot of people were on Last Stand, and that's a normalized version, basically for the players that, how do I put this softly? They don't like take the time to gear that way. Like they just get all of the stats by just going in. Now it's fun still, but what I'm saying is in the Dark Zone, really how they changed PvP and how they made it better was just by changing the health. And I don't even think they really did that right. But I feel like adding Dark Zones doesn't improve PvP. It's labeled as a PvP update, but the only mechanics that they fixed were hard quotations on fixed hip fire and health, which was on.
No, because the new zones in the PvP are completely different, or the new zones in the Dark Zone are completely different to the ones we already have. So it does kind of change the aspect of PvPing, because they're in tighter areas, different lines of sight. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, so
Uh,
so does normalization not? Where does normalization come in? Does
Last
that come in
stand.
only within the last stand?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Update
normalization
itself,
only
right?
comes in the last stand. It normalizes your gear when you load into last stand. And personally,
Yeah.
I think that it's a brilliant change to what we know as PvP at the moment. Like, I used to PvP back in 1.1, 1.2, and even 1.3, and that's when I started to stop and said I had enough of this shit. Because I didn't like the way it was going, where you had your tacticians builds and then eventually your shotgun builds, and now your alpha builds. It's like, if you want to be competitive, do well, go on a manhunt, survive, you must have this build or you're going to really struggle. Whereas normalised in PvP with Last Stand, it comes very much down to your skill, and I think that Alpha Bridge nerf combined with PvP normalization or gear normalization in Last Stand, that's going to change a lot of things, because anyone that wants to PvP like myself that doesn't like the way the Dark Zone is going to have somewhere they can go and play and put whatever build you want together, and rely on your skill and the pieces of gear you select for the 2, 3, 4 piece bonuses and things like that, and let the people that want to go and run their meta builds fuck around in the Dark Zone, killing each other, losing a stupid amount of XP. And
So-
everything like that. Let me go
so
into
does-
Last Stand and
So does
do
build
well.
changes like the degradation of armor, right? The swap out of armor, and that rollout and that stat, slot. Does the build diversity they've been aiming for, from your
No.
experience of the PTS, provide that diversity or that build diversity in PvP?
I want to ask Matt a question about this. So,
What's up?
Matt, imagine. So, this is what I thought the change should have been. I thought they should have left armor alone and added a second major attribute to each piece. If you want true build diversity, because now best in slot is health, so it's just as bad as rolling armor.
Yeah, you're still gonna want the thing about this game, and I've made many posts on it and Reddit stuff. I'm off Reddit now because that place is toxic as fuck. But I've made many things where this game is really, really great at getting rid of one meta and replacing it with another, and I don't think it's gonna stop with 1.6.
But that's how the world. That's how this game works, though. That's how any game really works, though.
But
Is
it's
it
so. What's
used-
the point in having all the other gear sets? Surely every single update we come to, they should go right. Fuck it. This is the new meta. Let's just ditch all the other gear sets and things like. You should be able to build your characters where you spec towards your gear sets, and each one is viable in a different situation or different playstyle. Not SMG builds up close, brilliant. Marksman rifles far distance, brilliant. You put an SMG versus a marksman rifle. If the marksman is far away using a Deadeye or Hunter's Faith, the SMG is running towards them, the marksman wins. If they're in close quarters, the SMG should win, not have that one meta build that destroys everything and is the viable option to pick if you want to be competitive.
So that's a very good point, and also and Matt, you made a good point as well, that every single update, even when the back in the beginning when we had hot fixes, right, on a Tuesday, when we had actually patch Tuesday, we had hot fixes for server end to sort of fix bugs and so forth. We have moved from meta to meta. So focusing slightly on normalization, why is it that normalization within PvP has only been applied to Last Stand? What do you think that has stopped them from applying it to standard PvP in the Dark Zone?
Because they don't want to piss everybody off.
Yeah, they would piss off a lot of people. My problem with normalization in Last Stand, it's not really a problem with that, but I don't think they realize how many people do not read this game. They don't open up a Predator's Mark chest piece and say, oh, if I put 2 pieces of Pred Mark on, I'm going to get reload speed increase. If I put 3 pieces on, I should probably wear an assault rifle and an SMG, and if I wear 4 pieces, I'm going to make someone bleed. 80% of the players, we all know that stuff, because, this is a table of YouTubers and streamers and stuff. They don't realize how many people in this game are clueless of actual weapon talents, actual gear talents, bonuses. I can't count the amount of times where someone will send me a picture of their gear, their build, and it's literally one of everything. And they just put on whatever because it made their DPS turn green, and then I'll be like, okay, well, what kind of backpack are you wearing? Are you wearing a specialized backpack? And they'll be like, oh, I'm wearing a Spec Op back. And I'm like, no, what's the talent? That's the name of it. That's not what I'm asking.
Yeah.
And they literally don't know what I'm talking about.
People don't understand their builds.
People don't read their gear. They don't.
I have a
And
two-part
Last
answer
Stand is
from-
not going to fix that. They're just going to get maximize rolls on rolls that still don't apply in PvP. And so people are going to go in and still going to be like, why am I getting shit on? And those are the people that cry in the Dark Zone because they just throw on whatever. And people are still going to throw on whatever in Last Stand.
Man, my side to you with that, with last stand then, okay, is coming down to gear set building is, okay, yeah, people are going to get shit on in last stand with normalization, like you say. Yes, they get higher stats, but they still don't understand your builds. But with the way normalization now will work, that also means that the people that do know how to build a set, like the people we've got here today that may go in the Dark Zone and get wrecked by an Alpha Bridge build, can go into last stands and you can build a build and know how to build that and have some skill to it, and actually you're going to go in and then destroy everything because you're using your builds correctly then, and your skill gap that isn't there in the Dark Zone because of the normalization, because they've been lucky enough to get a mid-maxed, or they've been lucky enough to get this or that, versus, you know, you properly focusing on your minor attributes, your major attributes, your 2-piece, your 3-piece, working in combination with your weapon talents and improving your time to kill rather than your on-screen DPS and stuff like that. With the gear normalization, that actually should mean for better PvP for those people that do know what they're doing.
Okay. Yeah, and I agree, but all that stuff you just named were a minority in actually understanding what any of that means. All the people that just like play this game, they don't read minor attributes, major attributes. They don't even know. Exactly. They don't even realize they're there. So they're gonna go into Last Stand and they're gonna be like, oh, I have 400k DPS, and you know, I have a Hunter's Faith chest piece, an Alpha Bridge mask, Nomad knee pads, a random holster, like shit like that, and they're still gonna get shit on, and they're still gonna say PvP in this game sucks. Until somebody can release like a fucking The Division build for dummies book or something and literally give it to everybody.
That goes back to that YouTube thing. What you're saying there, Matt, is right, and I'm sure the Game of Scotsman and Taylor will agree with it, because I'm in their comments, I read their videos, right? You guys will agree when you do build videos and people are like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
no, we do. You don't understand. Yeah, because and people won't give in on that until the community change their ideology and the way they think about in-game. Yeah. Upper Echelon did a video on it the other day about the meta builds and, you know, the player mentality and things like that. And it's the player mentality, I think, that needs to change more than anything else. We can sit here talking about changing gears, changing metas, changing this, changing that, until people's mentality change to actually look into things and they want to put the time into doing that, then you're no matter how they decide to balance things, how they decide to nerf things, up stats, lower stats, take out armor, anything like that, it's never going to make that much of a difference until the wider community want to, you know, take their head out of their arse and actually look at things in a wider fashion, rather than say, oh, Skill Up or Marco or so-and-so's put this OP meta build on, let's all run that exactly how they do.
See, but people don't realize they can get the same stats that they got with their Frankenstein build as if they did if they
with an actual gear set.
If they just took an extra 5 minutes and, as it sits now, probably 500 million credits to get the build that they want.
I've had actually people ask me what recalibration is. They've never touched it.
Oh, wow.
So like, that's why they're just. They'll get a drop and they'll leave it stock as is, and then they'll see that it lowers their armor or their health or their toughness or their DPS, and they don't realize they can recalibrate it to what they need to, and then they just sell it because they thought it was trash.
I used to do that for so long. I got a God Rolls
Barrett chest, but it's 3 stamina points lower than my current chest, and it lowers
like,
my
I'll
toughness.
admit, when I first started this game, I rolled everything for firearms because I wanted really high DPS.
To me, it sounds like Taylor, you're failing at your job, mate. I thought you were doing third wave agent, like YouTube videos on how to play the game. What's going on?
Taylor, let's release a Division recalibration for dummies video or something like that.
1.6.
Teach people about gear set bonuses.
Just put it with the 4.
I've already started working on that. I'm not even gonna lie. I was working on it during the PTS. The PTS ended and I couldn't finish it. So anyone steals that idea, fuck you. All right.
Yeah, because so many people are like, what are Savage Gloves? I don't get it.
And suddenly, just like that, I have to go. No reason.
Taylor, make sure that I actually send you the document I'm going on then, because I've been working on mine for about 3 months and never got round to finishing it, because I can never actually get round to wording it right to finish it where it doesn't sound like I'm trying to insult people and calling them stupid for not understanding things.
So the thing is...
Well, guess what? I'm uploading mine right now. I just became a YouTuber.
I've always considered doing that. But the sad truth is that it won't get as many views as you uploading a build video. It'll get like maybe, so say you normally frequent 10,000 to 30,000 on a build video. If you upload that video, you'll get like 1,000 to like 2,000, and the people will be like, yeah, this really helps. But then like all those people that watch your build video are just like I'm sure you guys have done it on different games. Like you're on the game and you're looking at a YouTube like thing and you're like, wait, what's he running right there? Like, let me write that down. Like, what do I need right there? You know what I mean? And they're like, they have no idea why you're running it. They just see that it works.
Yeah, but you might be able to say, like, you can sit at your computer, watch a guy, copy his build exactly, and then go and play the Division. I don't see that as you're playing the Division. You're playing somebody else's build. Why don't you
And
enjoy
that
yourself,
that
find your own
mentality
shit and
with
play it?
the viewers works literally on everything in this game. So you were saying like you'll upload a video, it'll get 30,000 views, and then you'll upload like a non-popular video but still informational, and it'll get 1,000 views.
But
that even works with like the Instagram that I have. I'll upload like a pointless fucking Division meme and it'll get 2,000 likes. I'll upload actual information like, oh, we have a Discord, you should follow it. It'll get 100 likes. Like no one gives a shit.
Yeah. Well, I think that a big problem with the game is like all we're saying, not everybody knows how to build builds. And I feel like Pete, and for anybody else, I feel like you are going to be shocked at how many metas are in Last Stand. And I hate to say it, and I'm going to contribute to it, but there's obviously going to be a best build for DPS, there's going to be a best sniper, there's going to be a best healer, and there's going to be a best skill build.
But
And
isn't that good though? Isn't
that's
that
better.
isn't doesn't
Yeah, but
isn't,
that's
doesn't that sound good? To me,
Yeah,
that sounds
that's
Yeah.
what they
Varied
want.
meta, yeah.
Yeah, it's good, but then you're also going to have the people that don't know how to build at all that are still going to go in there and get like this is going to show people that can't PvP, and they're going to
Exactly,
get
that's what
absolutely.
I've been saying that for weeks. Like I've been praying for. How long have I been saying for us? Been streaming every night, George. You see someone, we go in, we try to PvP. A team of 4 comes in and they gank us with their Alpha Bridge. Not because they outplay us, because they run in circle and they're all running Alpha Bridge and not one of our team is. So they rip through us, and it's just like bravo, well done. You guys are absolutely fucked come 1.6 when you don't know how to put a build together.
So,
So
for instance,
I have a question for
go ahead.
Taylor and Scotsman.
Ooh.
You guys typically aren't PvPers in the sense where you just go in the dark zone and you want to shoot everybody. I've watched both of you guys stream the PTS, and you did actually really well in Last Stand. Why did you do well in that PvP, but
It's
you
glorified
feel you
Call
don't
of
do
Duty.
well?
Yeah.
Is that what? Is it the normalization, or is
Yeah,
it because
it's
you actually have the knowledge
literally-
to build something, or does it just feel different altogether?
Bro, I literally opened some, like, because obviously you can just open caches straight up, can't you?
Mhm.
For
Yeah.
free. I literally opened some of those, just got a random build set and went straight in. I was running Seeker with MDR and was still doing well.
Okay,
Yeah,
well that's
because
pretty
like
OP.
as a non
Yeah, but-
PvPer, I watched you stream Last Stand, and you were like shitting on people, like getting 7, 8 agents
See,
killed
but
in a row. and-
everybody
That's because he
literally
knows how
has-
to play, and
Yeah.
now the gear's normalised.
But I was gonna say,
those
but everyone
people that
literally
run
has
around
God
with the
rolled
Alpha
gear.
Bridge meta build. Yeah, everyone may have, God rolled max statted gear. That's fine. But if you can't take the basics of building a build and knowing how to play, like Taylor said, he's using his skills. He had an MDR, so he knows there's no point with that MDR putting himself in a little room, trying to hip fire against an SMG because he's gonna lose. However, keeping himself outside and on higher lines of sight, taking the shots at a little bit further range, things like playing to his abilities, his weapon type, his playstyle, all of those things matter when you normalise gear. When you don't have gear normalisation, it comes down, like you say, to what a meta build is. Last Stand changes that.
For instance, I use this metaphor for anybody that really wonders. So, because it's normalized, there's still a lot of building that you have to do into your gear. If you want to be, for instance, on this panel, everyone knows how to build gear here, and you're obviously going to have some sort of advantage if you build right. It's like, for instance, in Call of Duty, if you either want to run Juggernaut or you want to run Stopping Power. That is how I envision Last Stand is going to be. It's not a huge boost in either way, but it depends on how you build your gear. If you just go in with 2,000 stamina and 9,000 firearms, and you're like, dude, I'm gonna melt everybody, it's just not gonna happen. You know what I mean? There's still gonna be a high degree of how to build that happens in Last Stand that I think a lot of people are underestimating. Because everybody's like, oh yeah, everything's normal, I'm gonna be really good, and then and then it's not going to happen like that, and they're going to get it absolutely folded day one and be like, PvP sucks.
So that's interesting, because is the division, right? Okay, we're all vested into the division, right? We all have our YouTube channels. We've all had, we've all got our Twitch streams, Beam, whatever platform we choose to use. And definitely over the last 12 months, we've used that as a platform. But if we're to take PvP as a concept, right, of what it is player v player, and we take gaming generation, over the last 5 years, would a player naturally resonate towards the division for a PvP or a pure PvP environment to feel competitive? Or do we only go PvP because we are vested within the division itself?
I'm going to answer this because I have to go after this question, so I'm going to start.
Okay.
So I think that, we all go in PvP. We are vested into PvPing because that is what we enjoy in every genre we played. I'm sure Matt played, Call of Duty or Halo or whatever you really played, and you were a first-person shooter and you liked PvP. You came to the division and it was interesting at first, right? And then it got really bad in 1.3, and now it's decent, and it keeps drawing you back. Now, if you never get into it like Taylor, then obviously there's parts of it where you're going to be like, this isn't good, because it isn't pure. It isn't the greatest PvP you've ever seen, and it's not going to be ever. Unfortunately, and I hate saying that, but it's the truth. Without absolutely normalizing everything like Call of Duty has, or like Halo has, it's not going to be a pure PvP experience. There are going to be advantages here, advantages there. You're going to be at a loss if you aren't up to date with the game. That's just how the game's made. That's what happens with any looter. There's all sorts of examples. You could go into Diablo, you could go into even RuneScape, for instance. If you want to go back to 2007, it's just, there's all sorts of examples that make this not a pure PvP experience. But because we've been there since the start, I feel like we're vested into it, and we just keep getting drawn back.
So to add to that, because you said you're sure I played Call of Duty and Halo and all that, I did, and honestly, I didn't play the campaigns. I jumped right into multiplayer.
Exactly.
And if you in the division, if you didn't have to PvE to PvP, I would have done the exact same thing.
Exactly,
but unfortunately, in the division, to be good at PvP, you have to PvE first.
Yep. Exactly. That's how I feel.
So here's a question to Matt. Sorry guys, I know I've missed a minute.
Sorry, Pete.
And all that.
Pete, just two secs, mate. Rogue, do you need to go?
I'll listen to Pete's question. I have like 7 minutes. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Pete, go on.
You guys say that you've got to PvE to PvP. So how do you guys take the question then that people that PvE, suck and they need to stop whinging about this and that and get better at PvP and all of that jazz, when you've got to PvE to PvP? Where do you guys stand on that kind of whole line of people saying, well, PvE is the best or PvP is the best and you must do this and you must do that? And
to me, I'm not saying they suck and they need to get good, but in this game, you have to get used to PvP. You're going to be awful at first, and you're going to die a lot. And I have a lot of friends where I just PvE'd with them because that's all they'll do. They'll go into the Dark Zone. We'll be like, oh, we're only PvPing tonight. They'll die 4 times, and they're done. And you're going to die a lot in this game in PvP, especially at first. It takes a ton to get used to. But to me, killing a robot that has the same mechanics over and over again and the same AI is not entertaining, and I don't feel like I'm getting any better at the game because I know exactly how they're going to move and where they're going.
So no, I was just going to interject with a question. Was if we can cast our minds back to 1.1, 1.2, probably even 1.3 actually, the time when everyone would sort of meet up on a server and literally a third person would throw a grenade in, and you would do the 1v1 environment, and everyone would have, it's almost like a Western showdown. That doesn't happen anymore, right? Will 1.6 bring that back?
I
think it can.
I don't think it'll be necessarily a Western showdown. I think Last Stand will definitely have, I'm not going to call it because it's an organized 1v1. When I show up in a server and I say, you're trash, 1v1 me, and we run off to 42nd Street and my buddy throws a grenade and we fight it out, cool. as opposed to, you know, I'm running up the staircase in the sports store and you're running down and we have that quick 1v1 battle. That's it. There was no one there. There was no setup. It was your build was better than mine. I didn't prop my talents fast enough. My heal was on cooldown.
It comes to your skill, doesn't it?
There's all these different things that come into what a real 1v1 should be, and I don't ever think that, you know, since I started playing this game, I think I've done maybe 5 1v1s in total. As opposed to people who sit and have 1v1 tournaments and clan tryouts with a 1v1, and I say, you don't clan tryout with a 1v1. You clan tryout when you get 4 people and you try and run manhunt and you see how well they work together as a team.
Yeah. Just like anything, just like anywhere else, that's exactly how you do it. You look at Destiny, be it through Trials or Iron Banner. You look at Call of Duty when they're playing hardpoints and domination. It's about the team play, not the one-on-one. I guarantee you can put some of the best players we have that go and play by themselves, as solo YouTubers, streamers, whoever they are. Good PvP players, 1v1, doesn't mean they can work well in a team. And as a team, they could succeed in doing that PvP scenario because they want to play for themselves. And that's another thing with the Alpha Bridge build, I find that what made it so boring is you were only helping yourself. You weren't doing fuck all for your team because everyone just stacks these talents that help them and they don't help their team out. You know, there's no way to build the Alpha Bridge build really that people were interested in to help the team out by giving them quicker kill cooldowns or, you know, more damage through the pulse, through the tacticians and stuff like that. It was like no focused team play with an Alpha Bridge. It was always, it's about me and I'm going to run competent and I'm going to run this and I'm going to run that to get my build better, but not help my teammates in the team play.
Okay. No, absolutely. That's a very good point. Just opening up questions. Let's try and sort of wrap it up into sort of the last 10 minutes, I guess.
We actually live again.
Open up. Yeah. I've been recording that whole lot.
I thought we were still waffling like for the fun of it.
No. I've been recording for the last 12 minutes.
This whole thing has been a waffle.
Seriously though, Taylor, what question have you got for the PvPers or for the PvEVPs?
All right, just a pretty simple one. Do you think Last Stand is going to draw you away from the Dark Zone?
No.
Absolutely not.
Maybe. Probably for the start of it, but then...
Well, of course, there's to the start, there's always going to be that, oh my god, there's a new thing, let's go do that. That's like when Underground came out. It doesn't matter if you PvP'd, PvE'd, you still went manhunt, and then you're like, alright, I'm tired of dying, let's go farm the Underground again.
Yeah.
Because you still got the chance to get new stuff.
Yeah, I think like that whole first week, I'll be there, but then maybe after a while, if it's sort of become lackluster. Obviously, the reason that I played it so much during PTS was because, shiny thing, some people can't play this yet, so must make most of it. But I think once it becomes available to everybody, then we'll maybe see its real longevity.
People say that, you know, rogues in the Dark Zone are going to go down, and yeah, sure it will, but me and Matt are still going to squad up and go and ruin a server. That's just how it, you know.
Agree.
Good old Irene.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's you're not going to get the thrill of Rogue Manhunt from Last Stand.
Pete, what was that?
I said, don't forget you boys, especially Mana. You boys are going to have leaderboards to go after in PvP.
Yeah,
see, and that's just the thing, though, and that's something else to look forward to as well.
Okay. Matt, what question have you got?
It's not really like a question to PvEers or PvPers. My question is, do you think they will add different modes to Last Stand? So it's not just, go capture A, go capture B. Do you think they would add like a straight up TDM or a solo Last Stand?
Kill confirmed. I hope so, yes.
I would not necessarily say kill confirmed, which would be cool though if you could collect like agents' watches, that kind of shit.
That would be awesome.
And then go through like a Last Stand leaderboard to see how many, you know, rogue or second wave or first wave agent watches you've collected, that kind of thing. They have to have there is going to become a point where it has to be direct TDM.
Now if they added a bunch of different modes, would that take you away from the Dark Zone?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
I think if there was more options,
no, but there's still, you guys don't ever get mad and want to go piss people off. You know, take out your aggression on that poor farmer in DZ6 who just took down the Q building.
I do all the time.
You just failed Lexington 20 times and haven't gotten the Barrett's chest, so I just want to go fast travel right up to DZ6 and oh my god, the Q building just went down. This poor kid just got a ninja bike bag and now I'm taking it from him. That's how it goes.
Or in my case, it'll be run Lex 200 times, still not have a good chest piece, go try to kill someone, realize I don't have Barrett's chest piece and get ganked.
And die. Yeah, that is literally the only piece of gear in this game where you notice if you don't have it on.
Oh yeah.
And mine's not even good. I could
imagine.
I could only imagine if I had a good
farmed
one.
the shit out of that.
Yeah, I have reckless.
I don't even have one.
I farm
Mine's shit.
Lexington 10 times in a week for my weekly assignment, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think my Barrett's is like 1160 stamina and exotic damage resilience and armor, and then kill XP, and it's still better than my god rolled predator chest piece.
At least your one dropped with armor. My one dropped with.
Oh no, it didn't drop
Oh no.
with armor.
Oh, well, at least you could roll armor. My one had electronics and no armor.
Yeah, but the first one I got was electronics, no armor, and then the second one I got maybe 5 days after that in a cache.
Yeah, no, I rolled stamina, and then I was like, hey, this'll do for now. And then obviously with the news of 1.6 removing main stat armor anyway, I'm like, oh, this ain't so bad then.
Yeah, now it'll be good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad I held on to it.
And mine will be good in Last Stand. I just won't have the ammo capacity, which is not that big of a deal.
Pete, what question do you have for the floor, my friend?
Actually, a question. Yeah, actually, a good group. So for the last couple of years, my PvP experience went from Battlefield 4 on to Destiny, which, you know, brilliant, both competitive, non-competitive, trials, Iron Banner, stuff like that. The way that you see, or we see, PvP in the Division compares to the likes of Battlefield and Destiny, things like that, and the way their PvP is. Do we think it's been implemented in a good fashion or a bad fashion as a PvP structure in the Division?
It's probably the best way they could have done it.
I was just gonna say they work with what they've got and they fix it from there.
Yeah.
That's how anything ever goes. You know, when a game first comes out, you know it's gonna be broken, and everyone's all destroying the hype about Wildlands. When it's gonna be broken at the start. That's how a game is. When this game,
and especially games as complex as Division and Wildlands, like
when you've got all these different mechanics and international companies, like the game was designed in Sweden and the gameplay was made in Carolina. When you have to have all of those things together, and yes, I'm sure they've done a million conference calls and done all of that shit, but there's got to be that that fine line that there was a miscommunication and something gets messed up. They have to fix it. They work together and fix it, and that's how a game is. I won't say perfected, because I don't think I've ever played a quote unquote perfect game. There's always been something that's super broken or super cheesed about it. But I feel like you'll still see, no matter how many times they update this game, something's gonna get broken again.
Yeah, and I mean, this game is a perfect example of year 1 is the beta, and year 2 will probably be the game.
Just like Destiny.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can I ask a yes or no question quickly then to all of you?
That is your yes or no question.
Right.
It's over. Goodbye. Shut up.
No. Should a PvP mode like Last Stand have come with the vanilla game? A PvP separate game mode. Should it have been included in the beginning game?
I don't think so, because they added like the PvP survival, and this PvP survival is, well, survival as a whole is the 1 to 30 grind in an hour or 2 hours, however you feel it. 10 minutes if you do speed runs, that sort of shit. I feel like that was a nice change, and I don't think that they should have had dedicated PvP, because then the Dark Zone would just be empty.
That gives me a question. Do you think there should be a PvE Dark Zone, and if so, why?
No.
Can I go first?
My answer is no, but I'm just curious if you say yes.
Agree,
Can
why?
I finish answering my question though? Are you guys cool with that?
Sorry, Pulse. Go on, Pulse.
No, but I feel like if they added Last Stand at the very start of the game, like if Last Stand came with the Division, the game mode, I feel like we wouldn't have the Dark Zone problems that we do, but I feel like the game would be totally different. All the gear sets would be totally different than what they are. Because if you put in this Last Stand game mode, anyone who wanted to PvP would just be PvPing. That's all they would do. They would just go into Last Stand. They wouldn't know the experience of a manhunt to have 24 people after you. They would just know that, oh, I have to go cap this point. I have to go cap this point. I'm going to shoot someone. Someone's going to shoot at me.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
No, you are right.
I will
but
give
that's,
you that.
you know, that's the same for any player that like joins into like Destiny now, right? You know, there are people who are only sit in the Crucible. They don't touch.
Yeah,
any of the
I have
planets,
like 4
right?
hours into Destiny, and I like the PvP in Destiny.
Whereas I have several thousand hours in
Yeah, I was
Destiny.
gonna say, I
from
think
a
I have a
competitive
total-
across
PvP
several
side.
characters.
I think I
on
have a
2
total of an
platforms.
hour in Destiny, maybe.
I tried it, wasn't.
Well, let's
for
not make
me,
this a
but-
Destiny conversation, but
Yep.
yeah.
Can I answer
It was-
Matt's question? PvE Dark Zone?
Fucking hell, you're using all your fucking life tickets here, Pete. Go on.
You want to phone
No,
a
I
friend
think-
while you're at it?
Yes, I do think there should be a PvE option for the people that... I understand there should be a PvP side as well, but I think they should have a PvE server so that people that do want to PvE can go in and experience the Dark Zone from a PvE point of view without having to worry about being ganked. And I think the way that you implement a PvE server is to then, in a PvP server, up the amount of people in it because they're going into PvP.
Yeah, but server strain alone with 24 people, we've all seen. Now, to touch on
So they
that,
need to upgrade that then, don't they? Battlefield can
I
have 64
know,
people in a
I
server.
know, but Battlefield's an EA game. That's, you know, they have dedicated Battlefield servers.
Yeah,
right?
Ubisoft have shit servers. We all know that for years now. They've never
But-
been able to fix it, but they need to.
But to touch on that, I think you could do a PvE Dark Zone to the point of like, what was it called? Like combat training in Call of Duty is that you PvE up to a certain Dark Zone level, and then you have to go play with other players. There has to always be that question mark. You know, you're fighting Sports Store from over here, and I'm fighting Sports Store from over here, and we both get a boss drop, and I go and pick up mine, and you go and pick up yours, and there's always that question mark, as if are these guys going to be cool, or are we about to have a gunfight?
And that's what makes this
Yeah,
game
I think
great.
you're right.
My beef
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a PvE only Dark Zone is the biggest thing about PvEers is they cry all day that there's not enough content on this, and then their counter to that is, oh, give us a PvE Dark Zone. What they don't realize is farming the Dark Zone is actually extremely boring. They will like it for a week, and then they will realize it's literally the same thing as open world bosses with a helicopter. And
Yeah.
then they will go right back to crying about, we need more PvE
But
content,
that's
when the
exactly-
entire
when
game is
people-
PvE.
Pete, not to bash you, but like if you want a PvE Dark Zone, take the walls down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
no,
take the walls down.
Everything
It's the same
else-
thing as the open
Oh,
world
I'm not
bosses.
saying I want. I'm not saying I want.
No, but I'm
Dark
just
Zone
because
because
adding on to what you're
I
saying.
do like going in and PvPing, but I do understand the point of view that people that buy games only for PvE. I know there is a lot in the division, and it's scaled more towards PvE than PvP.
And I mean,
But
that's
there
what
should
the
be an
whole
op- they
1
give us an
through
option for
30
survival.
was. Like, there's a ton of... most campaigns in games, you play it for 2 to 3 hours, the game's done. And then they need a new game. With the Division, at least you get that 0 through 30, and then they have world tiers, and then you can try other gear sets. There's a ton of PvE to make this game actually last without needing PvP.
You are right, and
Yeah.
I would agree with you.
And then
that
you
we
have
don't
survival,
need a
right?
PvE. We don't need a PvE Dark Zone, but when they brought out a PvE or PvP survival, that just increased. The
Yeah,
argument
it just
for a
it
PvE
popped
a PvE
into
Dark Zone.
it popped
If we
into
can have
PvEers'
survival
brain
with both,
saying, "Oh,
we
why
should
can they
should
do
have
that?"
Dark
when-
Zone. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Which
boils
I
down
don't
to that.
agree that they should have made survival. It's called survival. If you come across another player and they want to kill you, they should be able to. It would live up to its name.
Especially with the loot garbing that there is, If I can snipe someone with my fucking M44 from 200 feet away, I know that's exaggerating. If I can snipe someone, even my hunter, and you run in and grab the cash, that's depressing to me. Like, I just shot that dude down, and you stood back.
Oh no,
and were like,
I understand. I do fully understand that. I do survival runs, and it pisses me off when you do all the work to kill a boss. I've never done a PvP survival run and made it more than 10 minutes. But in PvE, You go in and you do all the work, you kill a boss yourself, and 2 guys just run in because they're closer, letting you fight it, take the loot, and fuck off. I shout at the TV, I wish this was PvP and I would kill you for that.
Exactly.
So
But the other side of it is, when I'm in PvP, and I've done so well by myself for an hour and 45 minutes to get 6 caches, and I get onto the helicopter, and I get jumped and killed, and I then get nothing. It's like, what was the point in me playing that for the last hour and 45 minutes to get shit on by another team because I'm outnumbered 2-1 or whatever? They've shot me in the back and they started shooting me first. By the time I can react to that, they've shocked me. I'm dead. I lose all my loot. Well done. You put an hour and 45 minutes into a game mode and got fuck all in return.
I agree with that, but to me, survival, to live up to its actual name, it should be always PvP. If you find another player to survive, you should have to kill them. And 2, you shouldn't be rewarded by extracting first. You should be rewarded by extracting last. There should only be 1 helicopter in survival, and you have to literally outlive everybody else to leave. That's how survival should be.
See,
that would be cool.
I wouldn't necessarily say there should only be 1 helicopter. Like, yeah, I mean, there's more than 1 helicopter in the world, and I'm sure we have trained pilots that can fly a helicopter in a snowstorm. But going like off you said, I know me and Matt have had this discussion 100 times. But it is true. Like, extracting first, it isn't really that hard to get, to craft your mask really quick. It should take 2 minutes. If you spawn in the right spot, get some fabric, get some tools, all you have to do is grab your antivirals and call it in. You have to kill maybe 1 person. If you're stealthy enough, you have to kill your hunter, and that's it.
Yeah, and you can kill a hunter with all greens and 40k toughness. Just get a gold M44, and it's the easiest thing on the planet. You can do a speed run.
Where you guys are coming from, and I do absolutely value your point. I think you make some really good points around survival being just that, survival. I think from my perspective, being an outsider, I'm not a huge PvPer, but I do enjoy PvP, and Pete and I spend a lot of the time going around doing PvP.
We're not good at it, but we do it.
No, we're not good at it. But
it doesn't matter.
We don't use meta builds.
It doesn't
in terms
matter
of survival, though, Ubisoft and which is the publisher, right? They are the owner, and and Massive are probably prescribed to meet a certain demographic, right? They are prescribed to meet the biggest player base as possible. You talk valid points, right? Survival should be, almost like H1Z1, King of the Hill style, last man out, right? But to be able to prescribe themselves to the masses,
I know, and I
players
totally
up
agree.
from the, you're not ever going to be able to achieve that. Which
and
is why I think,
especially there's a farming option for survival. If you can farm survival and get a bunch of gear, there's never going to be that mindset where people want to be the last man there.
No,
I actually like Rex's idea, and it will go along with Matt's nicely. Is it armor, where you start out and it forces you into the middle and only one person can win?
that's King of the Kill.
Oh, is it King of the Hill? I don't know. I've never played it, but I like that idea of it starting off and forcing everyone into the middle and fight. Like, if you go into PvP, it should force you to do it.
But that ultimately is survival, though. It's the end game in survival is to be in the dark zone. You're out
but then
here,
shouldn't. But then aren't you talking about survival in the sort of the same way as the real world map, right? Aren't you talking about you're in the light zone, that is PvE. Once you enter into the dark zone in survival, you're PvP. In survival.
Yeah, they could have did it like that. That would make sense.
Then you get the best of both worlds.
Well, they should. If they were going to do that, then it would make no sense to have survival in the light zone pure PvE. It would have to be kind of like how the dark zone is now. So the LZ in survival would be PvEVP. You can team up or shoot. Exactly. But then they're going to have teamers. They're this game's always going to have a problem with not pleasing everybody, and they're never going to be able to fix that, and that's not their fault.
And that's what I've said 100 times before. Is it's one update is gonna solve 80% of people's problems, but the other 20% are gonna leave the game. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be mad about it, and that's just how life goes. And then you're gonna continue and patch something else, and that 80% of people who are happy now, only 60% of them are happy because you pissed off this people by changing this, and it's just a never-ending shitstorm of pissing people off.
No, absolutely. Look, let's move to the last question from Mr. the Gaming Scotsman with the southern accent.
Yeah, the Scotsman who doesn't have the Scottish accent. Do you guys have the same build planned for 1.6, or are you gonna have like a build for regular Dark Zone or PvE environment and then a separate one just for Last Stand, or are you gonna keep it the same?
I'm still going Predmark. I don't care. I'll probably switch. I really want to try Predmark with the Hilder and Air and see how it is because of the crit chance and the SMG buff from Predmark and the bleed. I think it'll be pretty good, but I'm still going to go probably Barrett Specialized or Barrett Savage Predmark.
I honestly don't even know. Like, I feel like I'm going to go in with my Predator's Mark still, only because I know that's what I'm good with. I can run my all high-end build. I can run, I've gone Manhunt with Hunter's Faith. I'd like to test everything.
Yeah, I will be testing them. And I probably will finally actually use an Alpha Bridge, but just because you don't need to spec into firearm stamina and electronics to unlock the talents anymore. You can be an Alpha Bridge build that has 8,000 stamina, but still able to unlock those 4790 firearm talents and stuff like that.
I think I am going to take my high-end build in that I love now, but I'm actually, with gear normalization, very much looking forward to making a return to my 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3 PvP builds and going back to Striker.
Yeah, I agree.
I was gonna say,
I'm going to go Striker too.
I used Striker when I did PvP for a good chunk, like it was all I did through the first few updates. I didn't like incursions. I thought it was pointless sitting in a room, 15 waves of enemies. It was shit. I PvP'd a lot.
Yeah, 1.1 I ran
Striker.
four Striker, 2 Sentry with an AUG, and probably...
Okay, but what did anybody else run, Matt?
Everything. Everybody ran that. What do you want from me?
But that's what I'm saying. In 1.1,
but it's going to
I
be good
ran
again.
Striker Sentry.
I'll run Barrett Savage Striker with an AUG or a Vector. It'll be good.
I can't wait. I only run tacticians or I run strikers. I don't run anything else.
One build everyone should try, and it came from Marco, and I highly recommend that everyone tries it. I'm saving up the pieces now. That is a 4-piece Lone Star with 2 Cassidys.
Yeah, I do want to try that.
I am so excited. I was watching him fold people with that build on the PTS, and just for the pure entertainment value, I don't care if I die. Running 2 shotguns like that you can just keep switching and firing it like it's a fully automatic weapon. It's going to be so much fun.
The game doesn't matter if you die or not. If me and Matt get on Xbox after this and we go manhunt,
are you
die,
inviting me?
I'll send you an invite right now if your console is on.
Because I'll admit, this entire 2-hour podcast, I've just been thinking about shooting an innocent person in the face in the Dark Zone. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm glad you added the in the Dark Zone person to that there.
Yeah. We're gonna add that in the game, not in real life.
To continue from that, Lo, is it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter if I die a bunch. Like, yeah, it's annoying. I don't want to die.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not super duper upset about it because in the end, I'm playing a game. I'm having fun.
And there's no KD in this game. There's no way to track. Oh, I've died more than I've killed. And even
I've died more than I've killed.
I probably, but until they actually can track it, because right now they're only tracking rogue kills, and that's why rogue kills don't matter to measure how good you are at PvP.
Okay.
Rogue kills don't matter.
Look,
I probably have thousands and thousands of PvP kills, but they don't reflect because I'm shooting innocent people.
Okay.
Shh. Okay, sorry.
All right, look, as you can see, everybody listen, I hope this has been an eye-opener into what is PvP within the Division. For me, it's been an absolutely incredible experience hearing everybody have what can be, and has been a heated debate, controversial in some points, but also slightly educational into really what the experiences are within PvP and the environment. Just holding this as a round table, I only hope that this opens maybe a window as to what the ETF Bravo should or may have been like, and I hope they had as much constructive conversations as what we've had. which will probably shape into what 1.6 or our experiences will be on 1.6 when it comes to Tuesday. Look, I would probably.
Are we going to do this again next week so we can...
I was going to say,
should we
just
just wait? I was just
reflect
coming
on
to
the
this.
week after 1.6
All right,
and
chill,
get everyone's
chill. I
opinion?
was just literally coming to this. Like, calm down, boys. Calm down. Calm down. So, look, this is part 1 of what I'm calling Men Gone Rogue. Part 2 is Men Gone Rogue Part 2. However, we're going to be joined by the guys from SitRep Radio. So yeah, they've got some guys from SitRep Radio. I've got some other PvPers as well. So you know, we even maybe like a proper 12-man going in, rolling deep, right?
Can we get shirts?
But can we get shirts? Do you know
Can we
what? I
just
have a
not
t-shirt
wear
printing
shirts? Can
facility.
that be a thing?
Or that. Just go shirtless and write Men Gone Rogue on our chests.
No. We'll have like different parts of the phrase on our chest so that we'll just line ourselves up in hangouts so that we can just look at it and laugh.
But as you can tell, right, PvP is. I don't think Massive intended it to be such a big importance, but I think it's also it's a direct result of how competitive gaming as an industry has been evolving over the last years. When you take competitive shooters, I think PvP is really the ultimate experience for a gamer to experience gaming at any point. AI will never be as good as what a human is. And I think that's half the reason why a lot of people go and resonate towards PvP.
George, you did a Destiny raid, right? PvE can be as good as PvP.
Destiny raid, yeah, but there's still a defined
That's
mechanic.
a fucking
right?
adorable cat.
A Destiny raid becomes a technique and becomes repetitive, right? You know when the boss is going to move. You know what time and what the timings are, right? You know what.
But it still takes as
mechanics
much
will be.
skill in those PvE environments to learn as PvP.
Let's save that
yeah.
conversation. Let's save that conversation for next week, because I think we'll probably.
AI round
But
table
PvP
confirmed.
and the human brain will always outweigh an AI at this current time in our current year. If we have Legendary coming in the next week, well, maybe that'll question our own playing capabilities. We don't know.
It will.
Yeah, it will. It'll make us all look completely
I
trash.
played it on the PCS and I just got ripped to shreds by them. They were so in your face. They weren't just running away, hiding behind
See,
cover.
but
They
I'm
actually
excited.
played
I'm
like
excited to
players.
see speedruns on Legendary.
Absolutely, right. But let's again save that for next week, motherfucker.
What is it with men and speedruns? Like, seriously.
All right, look, let's try and do this as a sort of a call to action. Look, well, there is a lot happening over the next 2 weeks in terms of the Division community. We have 1.6 and Last Stand dropping on Tuesday, which is the 28th of February. It's going to be a big game changer for a lot of people. Maybe not so many. It may even bring a big, a horde of players back. Happening in the Division community currently right now, which is probably one of the, it's quite an important cause, is for multiple sclerosis. I have an uncle that is currently wheelchair bound from it. I know, Matt, you've been doing your stream, raising funds for an amazing cause, which is, massive behind as well. Pete, I know you have your stream lined up, which, hopefully I'll be taking part in as well. So hopefully everyone in the Division community definitely sort of get behind that, and even if it's just $1 or $100, just put something towards such an illness that degradates a human life experience and challenges people, from a family front, from just being able to mobilize their body into walking, anything. It can become, it's horrible. So I definitely, jump on Twitch, jump on those streams, support the community, and hopefully support some, an amazing charity at the same time. Next weekend, 3rd to the 5th of March, we will be kicking off something which is the Division Community Weekend, which everybody here will be involved in. So we're looking at streamer times, so it'll be literally from probably about 80 hours worth of Division content coming from various community members, various streams. We're going to have speed runs, we're going to have PvP events, we've got tournaments running, we're going to have a lot of stuff happening, which let's hope be the first one from, and definitely from this point of view, the largest amount of content creators under one banner, striving towards let's sort of make this our last stand in year 1. So hopefully there's some fucking year 2 content, because there's a big map out there and I've seen it.
Divided we stand.
United we fall.
We all remember the aircraft carrier. We haven't forgotten Massive. We have not forgotten the aircraft carrier.
Guys, do you have any closing statements? Well, let's do this. Look, where can we find you? Let's start around the table. Taylor, where can we find you? And any last comments, my friend?
Yeah, that was
Hold on, let me close the tabs I was looking at and put my pants back on. What was the question again?
Just hear the sound of the
Hold
zipper
on, I
coming back
gotta
up.
close the porno.
No, you can find me on YouTube, obviously, Rxlyat. Twitter is the exact same, but obviously I'm part of a group called the Clancy Elites, and you can find both me and Matt there on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Yeah.
And Discord.
And Discord. I've got the fucking. I'm adding dabs to the Discord now.
Oh no.
Matt, how about you, bro?
You can find me on twitch.tv/MattGoesBuck, and then all of the Clancy Elites social network hubs, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and Twitter. And in the Dark Zone.
Fantastic. And in the dark. Ganking PvP players. Love it. P3T3TT, where can I find you, brother?
We're wrapping this up, so I get to do what you do to me at the end of my streams. Guys, you can find me on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, everywhere exactly the same. P3T3T3. Thanks for watching. Fuck off.
No. I just got, and that's P3T3TT. Space TT.
Also, I'd just like to add that Pete said thanks for watching. Technically, they're listeners, but
They could be watching their little
That's a good point.
timer.
It's
going.
radio.
That is a good point. I was getting more at the fact whenever we
He was
end
doing
the
his
stream,
YouTube close
I tell them all to say goodnight to the stream, because obviously I have party chat, and George always insults my chat and he goes, "Yeah, fuck off." Every single night.
PulseIdiot.
Is Pulse gonna sing to us?
Find you, and
I'm
what do you do, my friend?
I'm literally just PulseIdiot on Twitter. I quote unquote community manage the newly released Clancy Elite Street team that both of the other two founders forgot to mention. We'll get to that later though.
Hashtag Clancy Crew.
Other than that, I live in Canada and I eat burritos a lot. Find me probably eating a burrito somewhere if I'm not playing this guitar.
Fantastic. The Gaming Scotsman, where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube at The Gaming Scotsman, and that's with no spaces. You can also find me on Twitter at The Fun Pun Guy, and you can probably also find me on the Dark Zone floor.
That is
Generally
a true
ranking
Matt Shawsha
down.
impersonation right there.
Look, I'm gonna plug Don't Go Rogue since he had to drop off, but yeah, you can find Don't Go Rogue on YouTube. He has his own Twitter, he has his own Pocket Allowance, and he has his own Discord. So yeah, you can find him by typing Don't Go Rogue. I am Binary Numb, one of the hosts for DZR Gaming. We have DZR Discord, we have the DZR podcast. So we do a Division podcast, which is the Armory, fantastic bunch of keyboard warriors. I host the DZR Engage, which is this show. This has been Men Gone Rogue Part 1. Men Gone Rogue Part 2 will come follow next week after 1.2. Do you know what, guys? It's
1.2.
been absolutely...
1.6.
1.6? Well, that's the
Blast
vodka
from the
talking.
past.
Do you know what? It's been an absolute amazing experience. I've had a lot of fun talking with you guys on this show today. And Joy, it's the first time, I'll just hand this down, it's the first time I think the Division community has had this many people on one podcast talking about one specific subject. So, do you know what? I'll take my hat off, tip my hat to all of you guys, and I absolutely
For the
appreciate your
record,
time.
he's not wearing a hat.
Yeah.
But look, this has been Men Gone Rogue under DZR Engage. This will go out on everybody else's YouTube, Twitter, whatever, so you'll be able to find that there. Make sure you follow and donate to the MS Street for the multiple sclerosis charity as part of the Division community, and we do have a big event coming next week which is going to hit your Twitch streams in the next 48 hours. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we will gank you in the Dark Zone. Take care.
And fuck off.